Welcome to Summit Council Highlights. My name is David Naidu. I'm the City Council President. And today my guests are Michael, Arlein, and Ty Holmes. Welcome, gentlemen. And they're here to talk about hometown heroes. So thanks for coming in. So let me first start with asking, what is Hometown Heroes? Michael?
Hometown Heroes is a program that was recently adopted by the Common Council. And the purpose of the program is to honor local members of the armed forces. And what the program actually is that we're going to hang banners along DeForest Avenue from Norwood to Summit Avenue from Memorial Day to Independence Day. And each banner is going to have the picture of someone from our community who served in the armed forces or is serving in the armed forces, their name, their service branch, and the years of their service.
Great. And how did you get involved first with this program?
Well, it's a funny story. I got involved in the program. I'm not a veteran myself. I have no family members in the immediate past who are veterans. I was driving down the streets of New Providence in November of this past year, and I saw these wonderful banners lining the streets. And I had noticed them in Berkeley Heights as well. And it's pretty obvious what they were. And I wondered why we didn't have these banners in Summit. So I came back and I called my good friend David Naidu, who I knew was on the council. And I said, why don't we have these banners in Summit, David? And he said, that's a good question. It sounds like a great idea. Why don't you look into it? And one thing led to another, and I called the folks in New Providence who had sponsored the program there, and I learned how they did it. And I, made some further inquiries with you and others on the council. And step by step, I sort of got drawn into it and ended up taking the charge to bring it to Summit.
That's great. And now, Ty, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved in this program?
Oh, yes. Well, first, I had struck up a friendship with a gentleman by the name of Henry Bassman, and he had mentioned to me that there was this program coming along that he was hoping that I would want to participate in. He then connected me with Michael, and as I started speaking with Michael and Henry, I learned that what they were planning on doing was similar to what was being done where I currently live in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The ideal of honoring the military members that have lived in this community, something important to me and deep in my heart, because so many of the veterans that have influenced me are living in this community, i.e. Gil Orrin, prominent football coach, someone that I respected tremendously, was a Marine. My father, who was a police officer for 25 years, retired, served in the military, John McCandless. There's so many other people in this town that I grew up with and basically helped me become the person I am today and influenced me to coming into the military. And one of the biggest influences was Chris Miles. Chris Miles was a star athlete and scholar for Summit. He joined the military, came home on vacation. I was actually home from school, and he asked, what are you doing with your life? And I said, well, I just graduated college, and I'm going to go enjoy the summer. And he said, why don't you try the military? For 2 years. I joined for 2 years, and 25 years later, I retired.
Now, Ty, you have a lot of medals there. So tell us a little bit more about exactly what you did in the military and your years of service and where you served.
Absolutely. I started off in the Navy, and my very first job was working with special operations. I actually worked in the intelligence side. I've also was a police officer in the military. Did that for 5 years. I served on 2 aircraft carriers, 4 deployed ships stationed out of Yokosuka, Japan. I left actually the military right before 9/11, 3 months before. 9/11 happened, I was voluntarily recalled back to the military. For the next 2 or 3 years, I would be called back and then sent back to my job as an LAPD police officer. I finally got to the point where I said, I know we're amassing ground troops for what's going to be some type of military incursion, and I want to be a part of that. May I request to go over to the Army? After some letter writing and conversations, the Army and Navy agreed to allow me to cross over. I crossed over and I was deployed in some, we call them high tempo units that deploy a lot. Was involved with Hurricane Katrina, some rescue operations down there. I've been deployed to the Middle East several times, Iraq, and just been blessed to be a part of some really special units that have been a part of some very special operations. And I tell people, not just combat operations, but a lot of humanitarian operations. I always tell people the medals that you see are a representation of the units that I serve with. I was blessed to serve with outstanding units with fine leadership.
Now, can you share with us, I know some of it may be classified, if you will, of what you did, but can you share us the story of one mission or something like that that gives a sense to the audience of the breadth and scope of what folks in the military do?
I would have to say one of the missions that I want to say touches my heart the most is we were actually escorting a convoy in Iraq to deliver supplies to a much needed village. They were in need of food, water, basic supplies, things that we here take for granted. And there was elements that were bent on stopping us. They, by hook or crook, attempted and tried in several different ways to prevent us from getting there. And the determination of not just myself, but the entire unit, when we were told several times, hey, why don't you turn around or try to go around another, maybe a safer route. And we knew that any delay could possibly cause more lives of suffering. So our commander at the time made a call and said, look, I'm making a call. Anyone object? And to have over 110 people in unison saying, let's go. Let's not divert, let's go through no matter how dangerous it is, because ultimately we're here to help preserve, save, and protect lives. And that's what we do. And if it means at the end of the day you lose your life, so long as you don't fail. And I always tell people the most important thing, at least I embodied in the military, and I like to believe my coworkers did, was we don't want to fail. And whatever your mission is, it's more important than yourself. Because being a part of the military, it means that you're being a part of something greater than yourself. You put yourself last. Accomplishment of the mission and supporting and protecting others is the most important thing. So it's good to say that we safely made it through. We did not suffer any casualties, and we were able to render aid, provide medical support, get the supplies and food needed to that village, which I can't begin to tell you how grateful and understanding and just loving they were towards us.
That's great. Thank you.
Can I just
Sure,
mention,
absolutely.
David, just with respect to Ty, I just want to give a little more color on, how Ty got involved with Hometown Heroes. So Ty, I had heard from Henry Bassman, who's, also a member of the community and the commander of the American Legion branch here in Summit. And I had already been in touch with him because I knew that he was going to be an important link to the veteran community here in Summit to run this program. And he told me that there was this gentleman named Ty Holmes who had a Facebook page that he had created called Summit's Proud Veterans, and that had over 200 members. And I immediately knew that Ty was someone that I needed to get in touch with, if for no other reason than that those were 200 people that I might want to try and convince to sign up for Hometown Heroes so that we could honor them. Ty sent me, within days of finding out about the program, Ty sent me a very long text or email basically saying that he was willing to do anything, that was required to support this program, including, reaching out to contacts that he had who were Summit veterans, encouraging them to apply. Ty told me that he was willing to put on the uniform and walk around town with me to drum up support, financial support, for the program. We didn't end up doing that, but Ty has been one of a key group of individuals who has been really supportive of Hometown Heroes, and I think it comes from a place of love for the Summit community and his fellow veterans. So I thank him for that.
Thank you, Ty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I always tell people that a lot of my success I have always attributed to my growing up in Summit, the foundation that was established here by the wonderful people. And I said, it was funny, when I was in Iraq, someone sent me a letter and said, what would you like, your care package? And I said, could you please drive to Summit, go to the store, pick up a pair of Summit shorts, Lacrosse shorts, and mail them to me so I can have them. And they thought I was joking. I said, no, I want to be able, when I'm not in uniform, I want to be able, and that's what I wore. When I wasn't in uniform, they sent me 5 pairs of shorts, but I'm the only guy in the entire fob, they call them, walking around with Summit Lacrosse shorts on.
I thought he was
nice.
going to say a Philly fluff cake from the Tys.
Yes, I thought that too.
I would love that too, but obviously, but I said, I have a great deal of respect for Summit and the people here, and the support and the foundations and just the way that things are done here, and I've carried it on into my adult life. I tell people I've had nothing but just fond memories of it, and to be involved with a program with these gentlemen that they've already started, and they just picked up the ball and they're sprinting. And if I could be a small part of that, please, I was just honored and happy to be allowed to join in.
Great. Let me ask you, because Mike mentioned the fact that you have a Facebook page for veterans in Summit. What's been the reaction to this program?
Oh, it's actually been very good. Well, what it is the page is created I initially created to connect, because I found out there were so many veterans that didn't even realize that each other were veterans. I said, well, let me find a way to connect us. Unfortunately, a soldier had passed, and I didn't find out until 2 weeks after, and I said, well, why didn't I know this? And I realized, well, I didn't communicate. So I said, well, let's create this page, not just for that side of it, but to kind of link us all together, to tell our stories, to share stories, support, but family members, but also to put out information about the ever-changing healthcare plans that are available to us, the VA system, what's going on with them, school programs, and it was a way to basically inform, honor, and put out information about upcoming events. The page is actually growing by leaps and bounds. We try to feature a different veteran. I reach out to family members or to that veteran and say, it's a voluntary thing. Can I feature you? Would you please send me some background information? And we type something up and along with pictures, and we put it there, and it's actually doing very well. And I have to say, Chris Smiles, I will refer to him because he is a large part of the reason why I joined the military, because the tremendous amount of respect I have for that gentleman. And he's historic. What he did in the Navy was historic. I don't think people understand what he accomplished. He was one of like 3 Master Chiefs, which is E9, the highest rank you can obtain in the nuclear field. So it's impressive what he did. When we posted his page, his profile on there, the page actually exploded. So it's doing very well.
That's great. That's wonderful. And Michael, you referred to other folks who've been involved, obviously Henry Bassman from the American Legion. Can you share with us some of the other people and organizations that have been involved in helping with the Hometown Heroes program?
Sure. The other people I have really leaned on have been the Summit Area Public Foundation, and in particular Frank Masiosi there has been my liaison. Summit Area Public Foundation is a community foundation here in Summit who provides financial support for charitable endeavors that affect our community. And when we launched Hometown Heroes, we needed a charitable sponsor so that people could make tax-deductible contributions, and SAPF, as it's known, stepped up and agreed to essentially be our banker for that program. And Frank, also as a former council president, has been helpful to me in helping navigate some political issues that have come up. The other people I want to mention is Marjorie Fox, who is a current member of the council and who is the chairman of the committee that oversees the Hometown Heroes program, Buildings and Grounds. Right. She has also, like Frank, been, I was joking on the phone with her yesterday, and it was probably the 3rd time, and I said, hi, it's, your best friend, Michael Arlein, calling, because I'm constantly talking to Marjorie about all the little issues that come up, and she's been a tremendous support. I want to mention Karen Schneider and the folks at Lois Schneider Realtor. They stepped up and agreed to help us with all of our publicity materials. If you see around town the nice posters, there have been some paper application forms that are available at the library, far more nicely designed than I could ever do, and they have a nice graphic design department. There's a fellow there named Sean Yaney who has been very helpful. I want to mention also the city employees, Amy Cairns and Paul Cascades, who are doing, Amy does publicity for the program, and Paul, is the guy who actually, figures out, what sort of hardware is required and how we're going to put the banners up and take them down. I hope I didn't forget anyone, but those are, I think, the key people I want to mention.
Right. It's a team effort, just like in the military. Everybody has to pull their own, help each other out, right? So it's a. Let me ask you, Michael, the period of time that these banners will be going up, and how long will they staying up, and can you give us a little bit more details about that?
So the banners are going to go up probably in mid-May, certainly before Memorial Day. We were talking now about some sort of dedication ceremony for the first year. We haven't figured out the details there, but I'm hoping we'll have the mayor giving a speech of some sort, and we'll invite the people who are honored. And the banners will hang through Independence Day, maybe the week after. And I think it's intended that this pattern will continue every year. So the banners are, in my view, a forever thing. They're made of a very durable nylon material, and they should last a very long time. The initial program this year was limited to 100 participants intentionally. Whenever you launch a new program, you have to you're unsure how many people will sign up, you're unsure what kind of funding you'll be able to secure. The city does not provide funding for this. Wasn't the intention that it would. So we've raised money privately for this program. But it's been such a success, I think, both in terms of the number of people that have signed up and also the response from the community of supporting it, that it's certainly my hope in future years that we will continue to create new banners beyond the original 100, find new places in town to hang them. And it's my goal certainly to make sure that any veteran who wants to have a banner hanging in Summit will have a banner hanging in Summit.
Mm. Now, you mentioned financially, of course, these things cost money. And you guys are still raising money, and you will continue to raise money because you want to do this for, as you said, this is just the beginning of this entire program. Can you share with folks where they can donate if they're so inclined?
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, Summit Area Public Foundation is our charitable sponsor, and the easiest place to donate with a credit card would be on the website for the Summit Area Public Foundation. That's sapfnj.org/donate. And this is very important because this has been a little bit of a problem. When you go to that webpage, the first button that you're going to see is to donate to SAPF's Community Fund. Now, if you do donate to their community fund, normally they've been able to figure out that it was really intended for the Hometown Heroes Fund, but you have to scroll down to the next button, which is for Hometown Heroes, and that's how you donate online. If you prefer to send a check, you send the check made out to the Summit Area Public Foundation, not to Hometown Heroes. That's been another little bit of an issue. And you mail it to Hometown Heroes, P.O. Box 892, Summit, New Jersey, 07902. And we would be very grateful for the financial support. We do need to raise money. I do anticipate we're going to continue to need money to make sure that any veterans who aren't honored this year can be honored in future years. And thank you to the audience for in advance for any support.
Right. And I think it's one of those great causes that people in Summit really will rally around, because I know that this community cares about its veterans, right?
Absolutely.
So talking about that also, I know that some people have said, you know, hometown heroes. Well, I served, but I'm not necessarily a hero. And Ty, I wanted you, if you could talk about, you know, this idea that you don't, it's not that it's people who served, right? And that the importance of service. Can you talk about that?
Correct. A lot of the veterans that I've reached out to initially were hesitant about the program because no one wants to be referred to as a hero. I don't consider myself a hero. I consider myself honored and blessed to have worn this uniform and to serve the people. And I've conveyed that to some of my fellow veterans. But it is an honor, and I explain to them it's representation of you volunteering your time and giving possibly your life to say, I'm willing to serve, I'm willing to step forward and protect. And I told them also, it also influences the next generation. I said, there could be a 15-year-old child walking down the street. He looks up and sees that banner. It might inspire him, not necessarily to do a career, but possibly to say, maybe I want to try this. Maybe this is something for me. And as I said before, most military, I've never met any military person that's called themselves a hero. It's the one thing we don't want to be called. We're honored and we're blessed and we feel grateful when people do, but we look at ourselves as just people that are doing a job for people we love and people we don't know and people we never will meet, but allowing them to have the same freedoms that we were entitled to. And I always used to tell people I believe in, you know, paying it forward and honoring what's come before you, meaning someone wore this uniform long before I did. And by them wearing this uniform and sacrificing, I'm been allowed to wear this uniform, so therefore I'm going to pay it forward. My son has followed in his footsteps, and he joined the Marines.
Oh, that's great.
So my father was in, I've served, and my son. So it's very hard sometimes. Some, like I said, veterans are very modest, and some of them had to have, I say, a little bit of coaxing, a little twisting of the arm, and I understand the modesty, but when I also explain to them the impact and inspiration, but also the hard work that Michael and his team were going through to make this happen in the Summit Council, a lot of people understood and said, absolutely, I would love to participate in this. And I always tell guys, you say one of the worst things you want to, you know, veteran hates is no one wants to be forgotten. They're not forgetting us. The town of Summit is ensuring that you or our brothers and sisters are never being forgotten. And there's no greater honor.
Yeah, you know, when I was being interviewed also by Frank Mazziosi, and he asked me the same question, and basically I gave the same answer, because I, of course, I did not serve, but I think we all appreciate the fact that our freedoms are dependent on people who have volunteered and gone out there and served and defended us. And we can't be doing this if other people haven't been willing, such as yourself. So thank you for your service to being out there and putting yourself, because as you said, everybody who goes out there puts their life on their line. And that's something that very, very few people nowadays in our society actually do to defend freedom. But this is, as we've been talking about it, this is just the first year of this program, and I want you guys to share with us and the audience what your hopes are for what this accomplishes and what you see as going forward we can do with this program or other programs. Michael, you want to start?
Okay,
and then
sure, I'll
Ty.
start. You know, picking up on what Ty said, I think this goes beyond actually honoring the individual accomplishments of members of our community. My hope for this program is that when we have banners hanging on our streets, you know, honoring veterans, you know, it really is honoring the ideals also that veterans and members of the armed services, armed forces represent. You know, ideals that we could use a lot more of in our society. You know, honor, duty, courage, sacrifice. And I think those are values that our community should be promoting, and they're values that I want my children to emulate. And I think symbolically, you know, when a town honors its veterans, it's also promoting and honoring those ideals. I also think that one of my goals for this is to promote something that makes the community more cohesive. And I think when a community gets together and honors its own, that's something that will, promote a good feeling in the community.
Brings people together.
Brings people together. That's well said. In terms of the future for this program, beyond just hanging banners in other places in town and making sure we honor as many people who deserve to be honored, I'm hopeful with the help of the Summit Library to create an archive so that the banners are available not just for the 6 weeks that they'll hang, but also year-round. And that will be an archive, in effect, of people who have served in the armed forces from Summit. And if there are any teachers out there listening to this, I'm hopeful that we can get the school system involved, because I have now a database, at least of 100 veterans with their contact information. I've been amazed at the stories that I've heard, being the person who's receiving the applications. And I think if there were, students, this is living history. I think if there were students out there who wanted to interview or write up a biography or dig deeper with these individuals, I think it would be meaningful to them and quite educational for those students.
That's great. Ty, do you want to add what you hope the program will accomplish, or what you want to see it going forward be done?
Honestly, I couldn't say it better than Michael just said. I like what he said. I do hope some of the values that we hold true in the military do rub off in society. Summit is a phenomenal town. It has unbelievable values. And again, I took the values from the Summit along with the military, and I put them together and was able to basically have a very successful career. And like I said, I would love for this to continue on to inspire, remind, and even sometimes just for the family members, for those service members that are gone. Sometimes the family members like to see that reminder that their loved one isn't forgotten. And I think everything that Michael said is just, you can't hit the nail right on the head. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I've met a couple of folks who were involved and it's in the military, and you look at them now, and then they start talking about what they accomplished when they served. And sometimes folks who were in World War II or Korea or Vietnam, and sometimes people don't want to share it, but once they start talking, you were really amazed to what people accomplished in their lives, and they've kind of quietly put it aside. But I think this program helps to get it out and people to know about it in the community, and it is to honor them and to say we thank you for what you did for our community as well as for the nation. And I think I was very proud of the fact that this council unanimously supported it, came behind it, and did it in a very rapid fashion through January and February so we can get this program done this year and started off. We're right about at time. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming in, speaking about this program. This is my first one of the year, so thank you for being on my inaugural program. I appreciate you coming in and doing that. And I think this will be a great success for the community. It'll bring us together, and it'll help, as Michael and you have said, Ty, educate folks as to who we are living with, and that this is living history. And it's a great thing for our young folks to see. So thank you again. Thanks, Michael. Thank you, Ty.
Thank you, sir.